A vibe is a distinctive feeling or quality capable of being sensed, a feeling or atmosphere of a place, situation, person, or a thing. And I feel like culturally, Gen Z values vibes a lot more than previous generations. You could see it in our music, our art, our social media posts, our photos, our return to physical media, and even in our memes. In the early 2010s, memes looked like this: caption and image. The caption sets up the premise and sometimes the punchline of the joke, whereas the image acted more in a supporting role, either providing more context to the joke by expressing an emotion, similar to how laugh tracks work. Laugh here. Feel this emotion. Proud, I guess. This meme of the my gerd girl, God, I hated saying that, uses this image to give context for the viewer, right? With this image in mind, you read the text as if you're making that face, making the text say, "Goosebumps, my favorite book," but like, "Goosebumps, my favorite." Fuck. The joke here being, I guess it's a funny way to talk. I don't know. This Velociraptor meme uses the image to express the emotion you should feel while reading the meme. The caption is a joke within itself, premise and punchline, in a question format. And the picture only adds like a more, right? type of quality to the meme. Memes nowadays, in the year of our Lord 2025, are different. Because of platforms like TikTok or Instagram with their focus on short form video, our memes are more video-based than image-based. And instead of the videos playing a supportive role in the joke being made, they're usually the punchline, sometimes taking clips from shows or movies that perfectly fit the premise of the joke, but mostly being the perfect combination of visuals and music to make you feel a certain way. It's not just the image showing us an emotion, but it's a complete vibe that takes your understanding of the emotion of the punchline to be more of like an experience, honestly. To demonstrate this, I'll be showing you the same joke in both formats. Firstly, we have the Drake meme format, pulling the 10 out of 10 blonde, pulling the 10 out of 10 brunette, pulling the trigger. Like, yeah, we get it. It's funny. Now the same joke, but with a Ryan Gosling edit. You feel the difference, right? The emotion, the vibe is immaculate. I absolutely love memes like this, of course, because I find them funny, but I'm also very intrigued by the way these short videos make me feel, how combining the right visuals with the perfect song can emulate so much of a vibe that there doesn't really need to be a punchline to the meme. I already understand the meme. I feel the punchline. So today I'm gonna try and make my own shorts to see if I could capture that same vibe within them. And I'll be explaining in depth my process, showing you guys how I analyze something and am able to replicate the feeling that I want to without directly copying the original. So if you guys are ever inspired by another piece or pieces of media, you can better understand them and capture the same feeling in your work without, plagiarizing anything. Speaking of plagiarism, while I was researching this video, YouTuber James Lee released a video titled "How to Think Creatively," where he showed the system he uses for his creative projects, and it so perfectly fit my process for researching and replicating vibes that I'm gonna be stealing his system so I could use it to better explain to you guys my process for doing things like this. He explains that there are two phases to a creative project: an expansive thinking phase and a focused thinking phase. I didn't even realize how true this was until I saw his video and realized that it matched perfectly with what I was doing for my own process. So, starting out in the expansive phase, what is my first step? Research. The first step to capturing a vibe in your work is figuring out what vibe you want to capture. For me, it was whatever vibe is in all of these memes that we talked about earlier. So I was scrolling through Instagram for hours, collecting as many memes as I possibly could, that made me feel that certain way. I had memes with Ryan Gosling, Andrew Garfield, Lalo Salamanca, and even Charlie Sheen. But we need to expand further. I know what gives off the vibe that I like. Now I just need to find out why. Time for step 2, dissecting. I need to break these videos down to their bare bones. If I want to replicate the feeling I get from watching these videos, I need to know which bricks to build with. And after comparing and contrasting all of these videos, I came to the realization that the three biggest factors are the music, the editing, and most importantly, the visuals. Dissecting the music was easy. I just made a Spotify playlist with all of the songs that I had found in the memes, as well as some other songs that I thought had a similar feel to them. The editing, I noticed, was heavily influenced by the music. If the song was slower, there would be more slow motion, a lot more glow to the colors. If it was a more upbeat track, the editing would reflect that. Quicker, faster cuts, speed ramping, and a more saturated look. So for my projects, I'd have to choose the tempo, one might say, and that would help dictate the music and pacing of the editing. But the final pillar was the one I'd have to pull apart even more: the visuals. To get a better understanding of the visuals in these memes and why they were chosen, I found all of the original videos from these clips. The Ryan Gosling collab with Gucci, Andrew Garfield for GQ and Saint Laurent, Charlie Sheen's Japanese Parliament cigarette commercial, and this is an old aftershave commercial, if you didn't know. Oh, and also, my favorite, that one Supernatural promo for the CW. With more context to the original visuals, I started picking them apart, looking for common themes across all of them. Here's what I came up with: luxurious visuals, high-end fashion, elegant themes, an effortless attitude, abstract visuals, beautiful locations, dynamic camera moves, dynamic lighting, emphasis on details, cohesive color palette, committing to either a warm tone or a cool tone, slow motion, and overall absurdity. Once I had these themes down, I started looking for actual things I could do to get these themes across, right? Physical things or props that I could do or show within the video, like suits, nice clothing, watches, cigarettes, cars, and weirdly enough, a lot of water. And now that I had everything laid out, now that I've taken my idea, researched it, and expanded everything to its bare bones, it's time for phase 2 of the creative process: the narrower, focused thinking, taking all these ideas and themes and combining them to end up with a plan that is actually executable. My first step was organizing my thoughts and ideas. I came to the conclusion that there were 4 sub-vibes that I wanted to emulate: a cool retro VHS vibe, with themes of luxury and wealth, a warmer retro film vibe with themes of fun and freedom, an over-the-top, hype-as-hell masculine one with themes of masculinity, obviously, and a colorful early 2000s or early 2010s vibe with themes of nostalgia and joy. And now to bring these to life, I just need the 3 pillars we talked about earlier: the editing, the visuals, and the music. I started with the music. I already had a playlist made with all the songs that I would ever need, so I just listened to the songs and would associate them with one or more of those 4 vibes that I wanted. That way, when I go out to actually shoot these, I can focus completely on the visual end of things, right? I can narrow down the editing style and the music choice in post. I already have everything organized, and since the editing is influenced by the music, I know that after I film the visuals, I'll pick a song, see which one I think fits the best, and edit based on that. So right now, I just need to figure out I decided to start with the warm retro film vibe, similar to those edits of Ryan Gosling or Andrew Garfield. I'm aiming for a feeling of like freedom, calm, basically Thanos at the end of Infinity War. So I grabbed an outfit I thought would work for this sort of look and of course headed to the beach. My fiance was the one behind the camera, shooting everything on my Canon R6 in C-Log 3. For those of you who don't know what that means, log is a format that captures more color and more information, and it preserves the detail in the shadows and highlights especially well. So basically, I'm shooting so that in post, I have more options when it comes to color grading and really dialing in the look that I'm going for. We shot at sunset for dynamic lighting, and I tried to act as effortlessly cool as I possibly could, like I'm in deep thought constantly. Once we had enough clips, I went home and put everything into Premiere Pro, where I started playing the videos back while going through the list of songs that I had earlier for this theme. And I felt like Moonlight by Kali Uchis was the best fit, so I threw that into the timeline and started editing to the tempo of that song. Now, I can't play the actual music in this YouTube video for copyright reasons, but I will post them in their full glory on my Instagram account so you can see the edits along with the music that it's meant to go with. Now, while editing, I was trying to use flashy transitions and like slowing down the footage the way that the memes are edited on Instagram. Basically, I'm going for that CapCut vibe. I color graded it, exported it, and something still didn't feel right. Now, that's when I remembered that I'm not just trying to emulate the ads that these videos come from. I'm trying to emulate the memes. The memes that take the already color graded videos from the ads and then throw them into CapCut or whatever and add their own filters on top of that. So I just did the same thing. I went back into Premiere Pro and added even more filters on top of my already finished Premiere Pro edit. I added some like glow, some halation, some grain, and just an entirely secondary grade on top of everything. And then as a final touch, to make sure I was done, I threw a caption on it to see if I could actually get that same sort of feeling that I wanted to. Let me know if it works. The next theme I was going for was the early 2000s, like nostalgic, happy vibe. So after a trip to Goodwill, where I got some clothes that I thought had that early 2000s look, it was time to shoot. So I called my friend Rob to help me shoot this one on his Sony FX3. Again in log, so I could color grade afterwards. We went to a park near my house and shot the video as if it was like behind the scenes footage from a photo shoot that I was in. But as we kept shooting and I kept describing to him what I was going for, he looked at me and goes, "Oh, so like dead girlfriend montage." Yes, that's perfect. So unlike the first video, I'm laughing, I'm having a good time, I'm swinging around, I'm looking directly at the camera, and I mean, it was perfect. The editing process for this was pretty much the same way as the first one. I chose a song that I liked, in this case Domino by Jessie J, and edited to the beat of the song, using flashy zoom transitions between clips, CapCut style. The biggest difference between the two is no slow motion. I shot the first one in 60 frames a second so I could slow it down and get that dreamy feel, whereas this one, Rob shot in 24 to get more of a cinematic feel. And secondly, the color grade. I really wanted that colorful 2000s feel, and it was just trial and error to get there. Tweaking things here and there, trying different sliders for hours. And to test if all that worked, I added a relatable caption. For my over-the-top masculine vibe video, I was inspired by these over-the-top cologne ads, this over-the-top animated aftershave ad, and this picture of Spider-Man. I don't know why, it goes crazy. So I came up with the idea to crawl out of a grave, maybe hit some sort of pose or something, pick up a sledgehammer from in the earth, and then use it to smash my headstone. So I bought myself a sledgehammer, grabbed myself a paver and my shovel, and we headed to the field near my house. I absolutely love this field. I have done a lot of my work there. My buddy Rob helped me film this while my brother held a little light LED to get some nice directional lighting. We found an area where the dirt was loose, so I laid down in the dirt and then got partially buried.
This is the neck moment.
Yeah, don't breathe this. God, this makes me want to take a shower.
Filming this one was really fun. I was acting dramatic, I was moving slow, to the point where like, when I was reviewing the footage, I thought it was already slowed down. But when I, checked, I was just really moving like that. Speaking of slow motion though, for the shot of me smashing the headstone, we shot that in 120 FPS as opposed to 30 like we shot the rest of it. That way in editing, we could slow that back down to get a nice, dramatic, slow motion shot. Of course, similar to the perfume ads. For the final shot, I wanted to strike a pose similar to the one at the end of the aftershave ad. I wanted a silhouette look, so I used one of my LED panels, laid it behind me to get a sort of backlit look. That's when I remembered that my LED panels actually have a flash feature on them. So I gave my smaller one to my brother, and we thought it would look cool if during the pose, he used that so it would look like there was some sort of lightning storm going on. I would just have to personally add the lightning in post. In editing, I spliced the clips together over the song Black Hole Sun by Soundgarden. For this video, I didn't want any flashy transitions. I wanted it to feel sharp, raw, and a little unpolished. I was having a tough time with the color correction though. The harsh one-directional lighting was very tricky to play against to really get the look that I wanted to. That's when I turned to some of the memes for reference, and I remembered this video. Boom. It's all gonna be in black and white. All I had to do now was go into After Effects and add some lightning into the final shot. So I used the roto brush to separate myself from the background, and I placed a bunch of lightning assets behind me, timed to the flashes of light in the video. Does it work? I'm not really sure. You tell me. For my final vibe video, I will be doing my retro VHS luxurious video. And out of all of them, this was probably the most difficult one, because there are so many different ways to get that VHS look, and I wanted to find out which one would be the best for the look that I was personally going for in this video. During my hard photo series in 2024, I used a VHS camera for some of my photos by digitizing the videos that I took on the tape. It had a great look, and of course it looked vintage because I was actually using the technology at the time. Sadly though, by the end of the year, by the end of the series, that camera was unusable. Rob, thankfully, has his own tape camera.
This is the DV cam. It's rigged out. I need to build it out because I have the attachment so we could run it straight to digital. So we don't have to, I mean, I have tapes. We could just shoot it old school if we wanted. This is when the magic happens. So this is the little module, and I throw this into the phone mount here. So you can see here the two different outputs.
Oh yeah, I'm watching Jack's films on my monitor right now.
Nice.
But we didn't just settle for using that. I wanted to try a few different methods to see which one would give the best look. Firstly, we used the tape camera, recorded it to tape, and digitized that tape the same way I've digitized all my tapes. Secondly, we recorded from the tape camera directly from the sensor to an external digital drive, right, using an SD card. And thirdly, we recorded on the Sony FX3, running it through my VHS player, recording it to an actual VHS tape, and then playing back that footage and digitizing that. It's a long process, I know. And here's what I found from all three methods. Direct to tape had a nice grain to it. It was very contrasty, and it really had that nostalgic feel. Tape to digital had a flatter look, less grain, but had a lot more details in the shadows, and it gave me more flexibility to color correct a little bit in post without, completely destroying the image. However, the final method used ended up being my favorite. Recording on the Sony FX, in log, color grading it, getting the look I wanted to, putting that onto my laptop, connecting my laptop to my VHS player using an HDMI to AV adapter, play the video back while recording it on an actual blank tape, then playing that tape back and recording that through a capture card onto OBS. It's a long process, I know, but it allows for the most fine-tuning into the look that I want while keeping as much detail as I possibly can. So that's what we ended up using. Now with that out of the way, we just have to get into actually recording. To give a more luxurious feel, I wore my brand new suit, which, fun fact, I bought for my wedding. So the first time I wore this suit is in this video. So we drove into San Francisco and visited a bunch of different locations with different lighting, and Rob would just film me looking cool and, of course, ripping on those funny sticks. Once in Premiere, I added my favorite clips to the timeline using an absurd amount of crossfades for transitions. I wanted this video to feel seamless, fluid, methodical. There are even some parts where I throw a third clip in the middle of a crossfade just to add some more visual interest during that transition. From here, I color graded it to have a cooler look while still keeping it bright. While doing the testing, I noticed that running my video through the VHS added a lot of contrast and it really crushed the shadows. So I wanted to prematurely brighten the image. That way, when it runs through and it gets processed, I wouldn't lose all of the detail completely. And what do you know? It worked out pretty well. I just had an idea. I have everything out. What if I just run it through again? Yeah, I think that was the right call. It made it look a lot better. But what do you think? This project was a way bigger undertaking than I ever expected, but I had so much fun doing it, you know, dipping my toes into more filmmaking as opposed to just doing photo work. The question is though, did I achieve my goal? When you see these videos, do you feel the feeling that I'm hoping you do? Is the vibe really there? And if it is, what are some captions that you guys would give to these videos? You can actually download all these videos from my Google Drive link down in the description and make your own captions, make your own memes, re-edit them. I don't really care what you do, but whatever you do, please post them on my subreddit so I can see what you guys came up with. And maybe I'll make a video checking all that stuff out.